Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Turn of Events, where we help put a positive spin on the future of your business. I'm Annette Naif, the creative director and CEO of Naif Productions. We are a strategic event production company based in New York City. We specialize in corporate, social, nonprofit, and weddings. Pretty much everything. If you're looking to do a live, hybrid, or virtual event, we're doing all of it. Contact us. Love to consult you. And if you're a wedding and event planner and you're looking to start your own business, check us out at Event Planner Society on the Facebook group. Have you been struggling with how to create authentic content that resonates with your ideal client? Well, we're going to learn all about that. My next guest, which is really super awesome. I'm excited about him because I'm actually working with him myself. We're going to talk about how to build a powerful and profitable personal brand, which is very exciting. Danny DelVecchio is a coach, content creator, and digital marketer specializing in helping solopreneurs and small business owners grow their digital presence and attract new clients through authentic content. His content creation agency, Bizy Bee Social, helps clients create a month of content in under an hour of their time, which I'm excited about that because I'm going to be doing that. Danny, welcome.
Thank you. How are you, Annette? And thank you for having me.
I fumbled through that, but I got through it sometimes. I've only said it like
a thousand. It's all good.
I know, but they get it. So, but I'm so excited to have you because I know we're going to be working together, and I know getting content for all of your social media is such a struggle. It's, people get very scared by it, and how do you do it? And how do you, it's a lot of work, but it takes time to do it. So I am well aware of that. I've 13 years in my business now. So it takes time to build all kinds of content, but you don't have to struggle with it. So first of all, I want you to tell everybody like who you are, how you got into all of this, a little bit about your background.
Okay, cool. So my name is Danny DelVecchio. I am a sales and marketing coach, and I ended up starting a digital content creation agency in the last year because I kept running across clients who said, I really would love to do everything that you're recommending here, but I just don't have the time. And, so the idea was like, how do I figure out how to help people create as much content as possible in as short a period of time as possible while it's still their face, their voice, their brand. And that's kind of where we came across this unique idea that we do for Bizy Bee Social, which is almost like a hybrid of doing a podcast live like this, and then using this to create all of your short form video content and actually all of your text-based and image-based content can all be created all out of one 45-minute session, which is pretty cool.
Which is so awesome because no one has time every day to be recording and video and doing all of that. So I love the idea of that. And you edit everything, which is fantastic. And a lot of you you're all going to be seeing some of the content that he's going to be creating for us, which I'm very, very excited about because I obviously don't have the time. And I'm not an editor. I don't want to have to I just want it to go to one person, one company and deal with it all and not take up a whole bunch of my time. I don't have a ton of time, as you know. So
yeah, it's funny because I did all my own editing for, I don't know, like a year and a half. And then with Bizy Bee, we just brought on a brand new editing team, and they're really excellent. And now I don't do my own editing anymore. And I'm like, oh, you know what? These professionals are way better than me, and my videos look way better that they're doing it, even though I spent all this time and investing in learning how to do it and in tools and all that. So, sometimes it's better to invest in people. Who, not how. I have a mentor that always tells me that it's who, not how. So now I got the editors that are just amazing, and we're really happy with them.
Well, I'm excited because I get to use them as well. So, all right. So let's start because I have a ton of questions for you. So how do people know Yeah, let's go. All right. So how do people know what platforms are right for them?
So the best way to handle this one is wherever your audience is hanging out, those are the platforms that you want to be on, right? So give me an example. Let's do an example.
Like wedding
What would you
planners.
say your target audience is?
Yes. So like
Wedding
wedding.
planners.
We have a
Okay.
little bit of a delay. So pardon me if I'm talking over you.
Okay, no problem. So wedding planners are your target audience. So
Right.
which platforms do you find the most wedding planners?
So, well,
Tell me.
Pinterest, because Pinterest, they love to hang out over on Pinterest and they're always looking and stuff like that. But also, I mean, Instagram is probably a good place. Instagram and Pinterest.
Boom. So when you are figuring out where you should put what platforms you should put your effort into, those are your top two, right?
Mhm.
Because if those are the two places where your audience is hanging out the most, then 80% of your efforts should go to those two platforms because that's going to be the places where you're going to connect most with the people that you want to connect with. So it's all about, so just kind of think about, if I was a wedding planner, where what platforms would I be on? And that's how you can choose what platforms that you should spend your time on.
Right, right. That's sounds logical, right? Right. So what is the most effective?
Simple.
Yeah, simple. It seems simple. What is the most effective type of content in 2023?
The most effective type of content in 2023 is video. Right? We've
Yeah,
gotten to this we've gotten to this point where it's 2023. You need to be on video. You're,
yeah,
you need to be, your business needs to be on video. I think it's something like 91% of marketing folks are using video at this point, right?
right,
I have no idea what those other 9% are doing. I guess it depends on who their clients are, but um,
right,
there is no format or there is no means to that builds a connection and humanizes the brands more than video, right?
right.
Seeing somebody's face and watching their body language and hearing their voice and their facial expressions and everything, like that is what helps build that deeper connection and that know, like, trust factor that everybody talks about
Mhm.
at a rate so much faster than people that are just doing written content or people that are just doing image content. A lot of, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of content creators on LinkedIn who will post a selfie with every single one of their posts. And I kind of laugh at that because the idea behind it is that they're trying to humanize their brand.
Right.
And it's like, well, if you want to really humanize your brand, then talk to me.
Yeah. So obviously, so when I started this show, which is in 2020, I also hate being on camera. I've been in production for so many years. I hate being in front of the camera. I mean, I've been 30 years and doing in the production work, film, television, events, all of that. And I just hate being in front of the camera. That's just who I am. And it's nerve wracking. It can be. Once you get used to it, it's like you don't even feel like
Definitely.
you're doing it. And it's like, this is why I do the interview program, so that I'm with somebody and I'm not necessarily by myself having to like think of everything that I have to say. Right. So I kind of cop out a little bit. But you can choose what you're comfortable with. Right. So when I started, I had no idea. I just knew I've been on lots of Zooms. It felt like a Zoom. I'll just go ahead and just try it. And now I'm,
Right.
a couple years in, I've got like 80 videos. I mean, and we're going to be building, you and your team are going to help put all kinds of videos together, which is going to help
Right.
uh, create like tips on things like how I can help people in the industry and things like that, not just other people's interviews and things like that. So I want to create the how I'm an expert in what I do so that I can get that out and do that more. So it
Yeah.
helps what you're going to be doing. So when I started it, I never thought it was going to go this far. It really was just to help people in our industry because our business is shut down. We were struggling. Let's get on. And I figured it was a way to get in front of my audience so they can get to know me. And so now it's kind of, and even more so now, social media platforms, as you said, are making it so that you have to do video in order to really reach a bigger audience and stuff like that. So it does get easier if anyone is like thinking of doing it. Just do it. Who cares? Be yourself. Be authentic. Nobody cares. Sometimes I flub up the beginning of my entries. I don't care anymore. I used to get like, oh my God, but who cares? It's all about the content and how we can help everybody. And, I'm all about helping people in the business. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like anything else. As you continue to repeat it and practice, and the more repetition and the more quantity you do in the beginning, the better you get at it, right? So when it comes, and the more comfortable, right? Because that's a big thing. Like with, people are just the camera just makes people uncomfortable. And I would say that's probably the number one reason that people choose not to do video, is because they just don't feel comfortable on camera. And what we do with Bizy Bee is really cool, because instead of with our clients, instead of our clients like looking at the camera and talking to the camera, they sit here and they talk to me and I ask them questions. And it just yields a really interesting, more authentic response than as if they just set up their camera on a tripod and started talking to their own, just talking to the lens or looking back at their own face on the back cam or whatever it is, right? So that's one of the cool things about it. And you also mentioned about kind of your expertise and building your authority, and kind of I think the big buzzword right now is thought leader. Everybody's trying to be a thought leader in their industry and in their space, right? So the video is the best way to do that, right? To get out here and share the things that share a few things. One, you mentioned like the educational tips, right? Just like sharing things that, that could help the people in your industry, right? And just a very quick tip, right? That's part of it. But then it's also sharing your own experience and your own personal journey, because when people hear about your experience and your personal journey, it validates that you are an expert and shows that, hey, you are, and also helps humanize you. Again, we're going with that theme again, because stories, there's nothing better than stories. People want to hear stories. So like that's a pillar of the content. And then the last is tell the stories of your clients. And I think this is where a lot of people miss out on when it comes to content, is that they're really quick to tell their own story, or they tell their own story, they share the educational tips, but like, hey, share what are you working on with your clients right now? What's working for them? What is it that what are your clients, what wins are they having? Where did they go? How did they go from A to B? And that the type of content that gets people to want to be more curious about your business. Because if you're providing that service to the client and your clients are transforming from A to B, that's people like that. Again, that people start to picture themselves as your client.
I always forget to do that. That's why it's really good to have somebody like you guys to help bring that out. Because listen, I don't think I'm so far involved now in running the business and the coaching program and all of that stuff that I forget to tell about my story where I started and the reason why I'm doing the coaching program, right? I struggled. I had a hard time finding someone to help me. I didn't know how to do any of the stuff coming from corporate. You have no idea how to price and systems and all of that stuff, right? So I forget to talk about that. So it's a really great reminder for people to talk about where you came from, because I wasn't just successful. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't have a whole handful of clients and a whole bunch of clients in the beginning. I was struggling, and it was a huge roller coaster. And many people who know me, have followed in my life, know the ups and downs. I was just talking to my best friend the other day, and I was like, remember when I started and I was in tears and I was crying and I didn't know how I was going to get the rent paid. And I mean, there were so many times when it's just a roller coaster, and everybody goes through it. Everybody, I don't care how much money you make, we all go through it. So, but just reminding people to talk about their client successes, and also things that aren't so successful. Because trust me, there's a lot of things that are tough in the industry, things that will go wrong, no matter how many plans you A, B, and C you have in place. You have to just, there's lots of those as well. And those are the best stories. Anytime I coach anyone, I always tell them the nightmare stories, and they remember them. And that's how they learn, because those are the ones you really learn from, unfortunately. So I love that advice. So if somebody is scared in front of a camera, how do you handle that?
So how do I handle that, like inside of our sessions? So if
Yeah.
it was inside of our sessions, if you were a client of ours, I ask you to forget about the camera and speak to me. And when you speak to me, answer the questions as if I was a potential client that you were in the middle of a sales meeting with, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the middle of a sales meeting with a potential client, you're not fumbling around or whatever, right? You're not really nervous, like whatever the way that the people will ask questions, people will come at you with questions, and you just kind of go back and give your response, right? And it's the same way that it is during the sessions. And when people kind of, like, I think the initial reaction when people come into these sessions is, sell. This is a performance. This is a commercial. And that's not what it is at all.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, if there's any way to sell with content, it's to not sell in your content. Right? Like, the content is supposed to sell just, you more than it is to sell your product or service. And I think a lot of what people's initial intuition is they just jump in and start talking about their product and service and everything, right? And
Right.
and they look at it almost like a performance, and it's not that way. And that's what makes our service unique, is that it's more, because we turn it into a casual conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We get a different angle, and for certain clients, I need to make the conversation more casual. I make adjustments because of the way that they react to it, right? Because and then other ones, they just jump in and, like, they can answer, like, very immediately, and it's not and it comes off authentic. It is authentic. I'm not saying it doesn't just come off authentic. It is. Right? But I just have to make adjustments based upon each client.
Yeah, it's the most important thing, is just be yourself. Be yourself. That's all you can do. Don't try to be anybody else. Okay, so why does everyone need to build a personal brand in today's world?
Yeah, so the personal brand it is your new resume, basically. We're in 2023. We all sort of live two different lives, right? We live our physical life with our families and our friends and out in the world. And then we also live this life online. And for any of us who are business owners or entrepreneurs or professionals, a lot of times, like, our online reputation is the most important thing that we have. Because the first thing that people do when they want to learn about you or they want to learn about your business is they go look you up online. They look at your website. They look at your LinkedIn profile, right? That's the first thing that they go to when when they start to learn about you.
Right.
So your digital reputation is more important now than it's been ever. And a lot of the big entrepreneurs prove that. I mean, you look at somebody like Gary V, right? Everybody knows Gary V. He's got millions of followers. Do people know VaynerMedia? No, VaynerMedia's got a couple hundred thousands of followers or whatever. They don't know the company anymore. Alex Hormozy's another one, millions of followers. Acquisition.com. If you say, hey, do you know about acquisition.com? Like, most people have no idea what it is. But if you say, hey, do you know who Alex Hormozy is? They're going to be like, yeah, sure, of course. Well, yeah, he owns acquisition.com. That's his company. It's
Right.
the faces, it's people's faces and their personalities are taking over, the logos. It's not happening.
Right.
We're in a different era right now, and personal brand is the number one thing that you need to put yourself out there and build that reputation.
Yeah. Gary spoke at one of my events probably 10 years ago. He was a
Nice.
baby. Yeah, he was just a baby then. He wasn't like Gary V, he wasn't like the big guy he is now. But he was building the brand, he was doing his thing. It was so different than he is now. So it's fun to watch where everybody's going. And how they're doing it. Even like Amy Porterfield, I'm creating a digital program for my coaching program and a digital online program for it. And I'm working with her on it. And I knew her back in the day too. So everybody has to start somewhere and build their brand. So you just have to keep going,
Totally.
and it evolves and changes and does its own thing. So there's so many changes in the trends on social media so quickly. How do you stay up to date on all of that?
You really need to be diligent about, spending some time doing your research, right? You need to spend some time doing your research, going onto the social platforms, looking at what is working, right? I don't ever post on TikTok ever, but I spend a lot of time there because TikTok is where the trends start. So I like to look at content and see what type of content is performing well on TikTok, because if it's performing well on TikTok, then it's going to shift over to Instagram, and it's going to shift over to LinkedIn. It's going to shift over to some of these other platforms, right? So, and then also I highly recommend for everyone to have some sort of news aggregator that is going to give them information about their particular industry, right?
What do you
And
mean?
it's going to push.
What do you mean by
So,
that?
something like the Apple News app, right? So I go into the Apple News app and I tell the news app that I want updates in the world of digital marketing and social media and viral videos and content creation and the creator economy. I put all these things in, and what happens is now Apple News is going to spit back in news articles that are coming out in regards to the topics that I want to know about, that are important for me to know about in my industry, right? And everybody should have, and there's a couple of other ones out there, and I'm just like blanking out on the names right now, but I would say that everybody should, invest or have some sort of way to aggregate news stories within their industry so that they can keep up with what's going on. I mean, how do you keep up with what's going on in the world of event planning?
So there are so many newsletters, organizations. There's tons and tons of things out there, and we post a lot. I do like to post a lot of trends that are going on. So a lot of my stuff goes on LinkedIn. For like the latest things in the industry and all that stuff. So check out my LinkedIn profile if you want to see what those things are. Also, if you click into them, you're going to see what all the publications are that I have a whole list of them. My marketing team has a whole list. So I'm happy to share it with anybody. If anybody wants to reach out, of course, I have nothing on the top of my head at the moment of what they are, but there's so many, and I get a ton of emails, and a lot of them I don't read, like Event News and Biz Bash. And there's so many people out there that send stuff, and I do glance at them, but my team helps me keep on top of all the trends as well. If you don't have a team, you can do it yourself. So reach out. Happy to give you a list of some publications out there that you can reach out to. In our industry, the event industry, there's hundreds of them. So that's, but I'm always trying to stay up on top of what's going on in the industry. It's super hard because it changes so quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously same in the social media and marketing world. We even had, I was on a networking meeting this morning, and we were having a conversation about this. And, I was talking to somebody who I guess I would consider to be like more of like an old school marketer. She's been doing it for 30 years. And she's like, what you think of as marketing and your definition of marketing and my definition are completely different.
Yeah.
And so and that's just a generational thing, right? So, you gotta stay up on what's new.
Yeah, for sure. So in the beginning, I talked about crafting authentic content that resonates with your ideal client. Can you talk about explain a little bit about that process?
Yeah. And we hit on it a little bit during the conversation that we've been having, right? So, I kind of use first off, the research part of it. So researching your target audience and what type of content they're consuming and what type of questions that they're asking. What are they Googling? Like, what are they going, and Answer the Public is like a really good resource for that, where you can see, what questions are event planners or interior designers, what questions are they Googling right now, right? And some of these like AI tools are good to be able to do that. So one, I would say research, but then the other thing is about keeping it as far as the authenticity part of it, right? Is, kind of I build that content on 3 pillars. One is, giving those educational tips, something quick and actionable and effective that people can implement pretty quickly. That definitely helps build trust, and helps build your authority as an expert in your industry. And then again, telling that personal journey story, sharing, ups and downs, like you said, some of the best, highest performing posts that I've had over my 2 years on social media or whatever it is, have all been personal journey stories where I talk about the times that I've struggled. Right. So, the social media is such a highlight reel. So when people do talk about their struggles, the people that are watching it and viewing it definitely resonate, and it helps build that brand for yourself. And then the last thing is, like I said, talk about your clients. That's the other thing. Talking about your clients and what kind of outcomes your clients are getting. What kind of transformations are you taking them through? If you do those 3 things, you're going to be in great shape when it comes to content.
So educational tips, personal journey story, and talk about your clients. Did I hit that?
That's it. Yeah, okay. It's either, you could, the third one, talk about client. I mean, you could call it case study. You can call it testimonial. But for me, it's just talk about what you're doing. Just talk about what you're doing with your clients. Talk about what wins they've had. Talk about what you're working on. I love to I love to use Instagram stories for this because, they're there for 24 hours. They disappear, right? So I love to just be like, hey, I just had a client, and here's what we were working on during our session. Yeah. And then, and works out really well because people start to picture themselves, hey, I could use that same advice during a session with Danny, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to do too. It's just,
yeah, exactly. It's just recapping what you're doing.
if you get in the routine of doing it, it's super easy. Okay, so
Yeah.
how do you measure and track the success at a social media marketing campaign or personal branding strategy and adjust it as necessary?
Yeah. So this is where you need to pay attention to the analytics of your content, right? So, how is your content performing? Are people seeing it? Are people liking? Are people commenting, sharing? And the biggest part about this is looking at this and to see what is um, what stands out as far as whatever is getting the most engagement, right? So once you see whatever is getting the most engagement, you know that you've hit something that
Mm-hmm.
people want to know about, and you need to repeat it.
Right.
The you need to always constantly be experimenting, and like adjusting and trying out new things. But then once you find that thing that works, keep going with it, because if it worked once, it'll work again. And I have a great example of this from a friend and mentor of mine, Travis. He created he started doing these videos, and he grabbed onto this one video where this one hook where he did oh man, here's a business idea, do something with it. And basically what he would do is he would give people ideas for how to start these kind of small businesses from their home, easy to do. All you need is a computer or phone or whatever, right? And one of those videos got 1 million views.
Wow.
And then he kept going, and it was the next, and he did, here's a business idea, do something with it. Here's a business idea, do something with it. And then finally he got another one that did 2 million views. And then they all started doing a couple 100,000 views. And he ended up going from 10,000 followers to 100,000 followers within 2 weeks, because of, something was working and he just kept doing it.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really amazing. And I had a thought, I've lost what it was, but you were talking about analytics. So also measuring, all of that. If you have, I just learned myself, so I'm still learning as I go too, is had my Instagram account was not a business account. So you can't measure any of the analytics unless you have a business account. So keep that in mind, push your stuff into a business account, and then you can measure. And I've been watching it now just in the last week, because I hired someone to come on help with my Instagram as well. As you know, we talked about all of that. And it's been like 75% more engagement just from the little things that we're doing is incredible. So, but that's the way to measure it, is it gives you that. So it's a super simple thing to do. You just click it to a business account and it's easy to do. So
yeah, there's option for a business account. There's also option for a creator account. So like either one of those, either business or creator account will give you the ability to have the analytics. They just don't have the analytics on the personal account.
Yeah. So you just made me think of something. So they now have on Instagram where you can get that check mark, right? The blue Meta certified. Yeah. What do you think about that? I just got approved to do that, but I don't know if I should do it or not do it. What's your thoughts on that?
If Instagram is an important tool for your business, then you should do it. And the reason why is because there's like a status thing that comes with the blue check mark also, but that's not the reason at all. The reason is to protect your identity. And I have had many people start fake accounts using my content. They put my face is on there, my content is on there, and and they will start to message my followers, and I will see like some of my followers following these fake accounts.
Yeah.
And 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 then I have to go in and start messaging them and say, hey, that's not a real account.
It's a nightmare.
And then I have to report it, and I have to get other people to report it. And I've had this happen to me like a few times. And I mentioned Travis before. He with 100,000 followers, and with the way that he grows and the fact that he teaches business ideas and everything, he had every day there was a new clone Travis Brown, right? And he just got verified, and he's like, he couldn't wait to be able to get verified. He tried for a long time before they, made it very accessible to get verified, because of just the identity thing.
It's $14.95 a month or something like that, which, at the end of the day, if it is important and it is one of your places that you're doing business on, you should definitely think about it. So I think that's good to know. I'll get right on that. So, all right. So what advice do you have? Yeah. Did you want to say something else?
No, I was going to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it also. Instagram's an important tool for me and for my business. So, they needed to have your last name on there. So I needed to adjust my profile, because they're going to look for your government ID, and you need to have your last name somewhere on the, in the profile. So that's just, for anybody that's looking to do that. You can't verify your business account. You can only verify, it's still a business account, even though it's your face or whatever it is.
It's a tricky situation. Lucky for me, though, I have name is on my business, right? Naif Productions. So, but I have always had my name, Annette Naif. Then I put -Naif Productions. So I've always had my name on my profile, because I'm known for both. So luckily I do have my last name. So we'll see how it works out, but I'm going to try that. So yeah, good advice.
That plays into that whole personal brand company thing that we were talking about.
Exactly. Okay. So what advice do you have for solopreneurs or small business owners who may not have a large budget for social media marketing, but still want to make an impact? And I'm sure this is like a really big question for a lot of people.
Yeah. So, if you don't have a large budget, you always have organic content. That's it. Organic content is the number one potential sales funnel that you can have for your business, because you have the opportunity to reach thousands and hundreds of thousands of people through your organic content, right? So if you have a zero marketing budget, then I would spend at least an hour a day making content. And then I would also spend at least an hour a day engaging with the content and building the community, and getting yourself supporters and potential clients, and just making connections, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to market your business. You have this opportunity to market your business for nothing. With these social platforms. And, obviously if you can move people from your social platforms to an email list, and, using a lead magnet or something like of that style, still there's no money involved. It doesn't, whatever it costs you for an email address. Right. So there's a lot that you can do without having any budget at all.
Yeah. I've spent very little money on, like getting my list built. I have 10,000 people on my email list, and a good portion of those are wedding and event planners that organically have gone into my Facebook group. Again, Event Planner Society, if anybody's interested, and missed that in the beginning. But, so I did that all organically. I have a lead magnet, which is an ebook that I give away, the 7 biggest things people mistake when planning an event, mistakes that people make when planning an event, and tips to avoid it. I've had it for, 100 years. I've maybe just changed it up a little bit as far as the like make it prettier type of thing, but the graphics, whatever. But I use the same thing, and that's how I've built people into. But really, I have literally spent a very little amount of money over the years on any kind of ads or anything like that. If I'm planning my launch, I will spend a little bit, but it's like $300 or something. I just don't spend a lot of money on that. I'm spending a little more now getting a team together to help pull all this content that I've had over the last, 15 years, to pull it all together and create those carousels and the reels and the videos and the stuff that we're going to do. So it takes a lot, but getting a rhythm down and doing all of that, I've spent a little bit, but not a ton of money either. So, you can do it without spending a lot of money. And that's kind of the key. Is I always teach that as well, is you don't have to start a business and spend a ton of money. So you got free marketing out there. You should definitely use it. And the other thing that I wanted to, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I know I was going to say, like, you and I had a conversation recently and we talked a lot about podcasting, right? And, we're doing a live stream. This is also repurposed to a podcast right now. And so let's kind of like being a guest on a podcast or your own podcast is another very inexpensive way and very effective way to market yourself.
Yes, it's free. I mean, I didn't charge you to do this. I'm happy that we're doing this and helping other people. And, yeah, it's completely free to do it. And then you can take the audio we create a live show. We have a video, and then we take the audio and we put it on our podcast. And, we give the video to whoever we're interviewing, and they can cut and paste and do whatever they want with it, with the video, and market themselves out there. So it's such an easy way to do it, right? So
totally.
All right. So what also I wanted to talk about was, I want to mention one thing about the engagement you said was, it's very simple to engage. All you have to do is just take a list of like the 20 or 30 people that you follow on on your Instagram that you love. Like I have, a list of, some designers that I like and planners that I like, and, just people that are in the industry that are very high end that I really like and I follow. And I engage with them with, that is so beautiful, or I love those flowers. I mean, it can literally be something really simple to keep the engagement. And I'm telling you, every single one of them respond back. It's amazing. So now I'm in the DMs with them. They're getting to know us. They might say, hey, I like what Annette's doing. And I'm starting to also post more things about my events. I never post about my events. It's ridiculous. Like after the event, I have thousands and thousands of pictures that I have not done anything with. So we're creating content with all of that, which is insane to think that I haven't done that. It's like when the event's over,
that's what you post about our events. Like
I know, the event's over, I move on to the next one. So I do market before, like as we're, we have a fundraiser, and I'll market about the fundraiser and it's about us and what we're doing. But I don't show the after stuff and like things that happened at the event. I mean, just there's so many stories. So I'm trying to pull that all together. So listen, I can teach it and I know what to do, but doing it yourself, it does take a lot of people to kind of help, and it takes time. So I started slow and now I'm building up because I have more money to be able to get people to help me, but you will do the same thing. Whoever's out there listening, you have to start somewhere. You don't have to be on every single platform. That's insane. Just pick a couple that you like. Instagram makes it so that you can post on Facebook and Twitter. So you got 3 platforms there that you can post across from. So keep that in mind. Okay. Off my tangent here. All right. So what are some unique ways to share your podcast on social media? We mentioned a little bit about the podcast, but let's talk a little bit about the podcast. What are some ways to share?
Yeah. So this is a good question, because like podcasters are always trying to figure out like how to promote their show. What's the most effective way to promote their show on social media, right? And the audiograms don't work anymore, right? Because that was the way that they used to do it. It was like this audiogram with like an image or whatever, and that was it, right? Not the same anymore. Now you need to go a little bit further, right? So what I say is, it's very difficult to get people from social media to go to a podcast because they need to leave what they're doing. They need to stop scrolling and they need to go and put their headphones on or whatever and listen, or even just save it in their queue or whatever it is. Like, you need to get somebody off of social media. So the way that you need to do this is you need to give people the most compelling reason that you can possibly come up with as to why they want to listen to that podcast. So what you may want to do is take the best possible clip from that podcast and turn that into a short form video. And you need to record video for your podcast now. Even if you post the podcast on Apple or Spotify or it's very important now to have video. Even if you only use the video for promotional purposes, it's still very important to have it. I mean, YouTube was just I just saw something in the news about YouTube being the #1 podcast platform, that it has more than views than Apple and Spotify combined or something like that. So video is now absolutely necessary for your podcast, right? So like I said, that's #1 is, give them that really super compelling reason. And one of the ways that you could do that is through a video clip, or literally list out, these are the top 3 things that you are going to learn about from listening to this podcast.
Right.
And if those top 3 things are super compelling, then somebody is going to go and say, hey, you know what? I really need to learn those 3 things. Like, I'm going to go put that podcast in my queue. A lot of people, they post about their podcast and they say, oh my God, I had this great conversation with Annette and you should totally check it out. It's like, well, why? Why do I want to check it out? Right? So, and it's like anything else too. Put a hook on these posts, right? Mm-hmm. Like you need and your podcast episode title should be a hook, right? Everything should be a hook to get people interested, to get people keep going, because you need to move them along and get them to take the action that you want them to take. So if you start a post about your podcast saying, hey, I had this great interview and here's what we spoke about, like, you probably already lost them. Hook them in first. Hook them in before you do that. Ask a question. Give give a quote from the podcast. Hook people in before you ever get to, and then the ending of it is my recent podcast, with Annette, we spoke about, this is what we talked about on the most recent podcast. Hit the link to download it.
Right. Awesome.
Close with that instead of open with that.
Yeah. Really great advice. What are the best social media platforms for podcasters to promote their show on?
Same answer as before, which is just wherever your audience is hanging out is the best place to post. So if you have a very young Gen Z audience or whatever, then you want to post about it on TikTok. If your group is, homeschool moms or something like that, then maybe you'd want to post it in the homeschool moms Facebook group, right? So like that is so, again, this is a matter of go to where your audience hangs out.
Yep. Great advice. Okay. So how can podcasters promote their services during the shows?
So, This is another one where it gets a little dicey, because some people want to promote their services at the very beginning of the podcast. They don't want to wait till the end to promote their services because they don't think everybody's going to make it to the end.
Right.
So here's the thing. If you post it right in the beginning, you lose people, because you need to hook people into the podcast. It's just like a social media post. So you cannot start a podcast with promotional things. You need to. So the way that I used to start my podcasts, where I would take the best clip from the show and put it at the front. So, and then I would say, this is a clip for, after the clip played, be like, hey, this was a clip from my conversation with Annette She's an amazing event planner. She runs a great company, and she works for she works with amazing corporations and nonprofits, and she does beautiful weddings. And we talk about some other stuff here. Listen, that's how you get some people to listen further into the podcast, right? And then what you want to do is you don't want to wait until the end, because if you wait until the end, you're going to lose people. Here's the thing. The people that stay to the end are your most loyal supporters. Yeah. So I have no problem with promoting your stuff at the end, but the way around this is to promote your stuff in the middle. So interrupt the show at some point, and that's where you give the spiel about, hey, join my Facebook group, or come check out this upcoming program that we've just opened up to 30 people or whatever it is. Like, so interrupt the show, do your little commercial part of it, and then keep going.
Yeah.
And then just remind them at the end. And then remind them at the end.
Yep. Awesome. Great. What's the biggest success your clients have had with social media?
Let's see. I mean, a lot. I mean, I've had I had one client sell out her entire coaching. She hit her entire quota for a quarter within 1 week.
Wow.
Of getting, she had a quota that she wanted to hit, getting people into her coaching program. And she within 1 week of promoting her offer and talking about it constantly on Instagram, she sold a quarter's worth of she made a quarter's worth of sales.
Nice.
One of my best clients, Jason, he's been with me for a long time, and we have a lot of fun making content together, and in our coaching sessions too. He's sold houses from leads that he got through his Instagram account. $30,000 commissions, and so. And then, I've had people that have just grown their account. I've had people that started working with me that had way less followers than I do, and now they have way more followers than I do, that kind of thing. So it depends on how you measure success. But, Ellie and her the fact that she landed 30K or she hit her number for the quarter, and then Jason with his houses that he sold through leads that came through Instagram are probably two of the best examples.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hopefully I'll be the next success story for you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. You already have some. You already have. Look. I mean, look. It's always good to work with people that have a presence. I mean, you have this show. You have your accounts, and. When you already have a following, right? So now it's just like, let's take the following that you already have and let's deliver the authentic content to them, and they're going to start to share it, and it's going to gain the momentum, and that's going to help it get seen by new people, and you're going to bring new people into your world. But the people that have already taken the time and made some effort to build a personal brand, and now they're just trying to take it to the next step and just get it to be more consistent, are going to be able to see success from this way faster than somebody who is like their first shot at building a personal brand. They don't have any built-in audience. They have 0 followers. There's so much more work that they need to do to get them to build that credibility and authority.
Yeah. When I started, I networked a lot in person. I was like a maniac networking. I went to a lot of events where my clients would hang out, and we connected, right? We connected on social media, and then I got into groups and we connected on social media, and then I followed people and they followed me back. And so I just built it that way organically, the same thing. So, and I still do that, really, to be honest. I mean, I don't network as much as I used to, just because I'm so busy, and COVID kind of cut that off a little bit, but my focus is on other things, but building I'm all word of mouth, to be honest, except for my nonprofits. I did a little bit of SEO on my website, and I'm now ranked really high in New York for nonprofits. I get quite a few of them a year. So that worked, and I didn't spend a ton of money, but that team that did my SEO did a fantastic job. And now my website's working itself and I'm making money from that. So it took some time.
Awesome.
It took a couple years for that to come together, but it came up. So yeah, it's really cool. All right. So we're almost done. I have a couple questions here. What is the biggest challenge you have in creating your own content? So I know people are like, I don't know what to do, but what advice do you have on that?
So, I mean, for me, I enjoy it very much. Like, I enjoy making my own content. So like, to hand it off to the editors was kind of hard at first, because I'm like, it's mine. I want to do this. But as far as like the challenge for me is, now that I have the system in place that we've built, the system, it's like I had to adjust the way that I made my content, because I was used to spending an hour a day making content.
Mm-hmm.
And and now with a lot more clients and a lot more, I just don't have the time, just like the clients that I'm looking to bring in here. Right. So I had to basically start doing my own system, and I had to shift the way that I made content. And that was difficult for me. It was just to kind of make that shift.
Right. So I can give a little bit of advice on how, when I started writing blogs, right? So a blog is simple. You can do some research. Okay. So the top things to, like, the 5 best ways to hire a team, right? Or you can search Google, don't copy, but get inspiration about like top, things in the blogs in the event industry. You'll get hundreds of them. Write your own, post it on your website, take 6, 7 different posts from that use the picture, take 6 or 7 different posts from that blog, post it out, and you can schedule it. There's schedulers out there. That's how you're creating content now. So you're reusing the same content, and that's how I started, just writing blogs.
Yeah.
Repurposing everything. So it's just a simple way to start it. And I know if you don't like to do it, then there are ghost writers out there. There are writers out there. I don't know if it's called a ghost writer, but there are writers out there. I have a couple people who write blogs for me. I don't pay them anything. So you can find people to do that for you. So a little tip on that. Okay. So my last question is, what sets your content creation agency apart from others in the industry, and how do you ensure client satisfaction?
So basically, what sets us apart is just the unique method that we have to deliver. I've talked about it already. We make it easy. We just make it very easy for people to create content, and we make it fast for them. And, we just kind of take something that is stressful or, super time consuming, and, we just really simplify it. And, how do we ensure the client success is, again, we research, and we make sure that the topics are on point, and we make sure that our teams, our editors, and our designers, and everybody are delivering the highest quality work for them. And we are obviously bringing in the highest quality people that we can find to do those types of services, to offer those types of things. So it's about people. I said it at the opening about who, not how. And we have a great team at this point.
Yeah, it's great. And you've been so great to work with. I can't wait. I'm excited. I've had to do nothing. I filled out a form. I sent it in. I haven't had to do anything. So I love that, because I don't have time to be doing all of that. So happy.
That's it. That's the way it works.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait to start sending out all of our content and working with you guys. I'm super excited about it. How can everyone find you?
Best place to find me, you can find me Danny DelVecchio on LinkedIn. If you just search Danny DelVecchio on LinkedIn, you'll find me. Or you can find me on Instagram. I am at Coach D Creates, Coach D Creates on Instagram. And then again, just Danny DelVecchio on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And that's Coach.
And I think the gardener's here. And I think
know,
the
I can
gardener's
hear
here.
it.
You're hearing a lot of background noise.
I can hear a little
Sorry
bit.
about that.
No worries, no worries. So we posted it in the chat of how to reach Danny and his team. You guys reach out. They're super awesome. And I'm just so excited. Thank you so much for taking your time.
No, thank you so much for having me, and look forward to talking to you soon. Sorry about the gardener.
That's okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Have a fantastic week. Talk to you later. Bye.